I was sitting here thinking about sin, how you need to enjoy it. This phone will be going out soon, so I won't be with y'all long. You better enjoy every moment of it. But I was sitting here thinking about sin, you know? Sin, how it's really like a gateway, you know? For me, I done broke so many chains, unbinded myself from so many things, and done healed myself from so many things. I learned to embrace the trials and tribulation of healing, shadows. So much so that I learned to hear the energy when it calls you. No matter what it is, don't matter what kind of sin it is, it just pulls you. It pulls on you. We gotta ask ourselves, how many of us is actually sound-minded? How many of us is actually sober? That's like my situation. Let me show you how programmed this whole situation is. My pop, I love my pop true enough, but he gets so much credit. He gets so much credit. Watch this. When I got money and I need to save it, seeing as much as I need, immediately the food will stop. He the cook, he the chef. The food will stop. All the stuff that we need to stop. Then I have to use my money to buy stuff. Need kitchen supplies, I gotta use my money. The problem with this whole situation is that everybody got paid putting me through this. Everybody got a check putting me through this. So if you want to ensure your way to heaven, you want to ensure your way with God, you don't do nobody wrong. Continue to do somebody wrong who never done you wrong. I love my pop true enough, but this is the kind of stuff that I always had to deal with. Even through all this stuff, I still show love to these people, bro. We all still family at the end of the day. There's a lot of wrong I'm not bringing up. It's a lot of bad that I'm not bringing up. Like I said, it's the perfect Cinderella story. Perfect Cinderella story. You look at seeing how sin embrace people, you get a thrill off of it. There's a sin that people rarely talk about. There's a sin that I wouldn't even know what you call this sin. Well, people cripple people just so those people can ask them for stuff. I saw somebody do a whole neighborhood like this. Purposely cripple everybody just so people ask them and make them feel like God. I sure did. I seen somebody do a whole community like this. Literally broke people. You better not come and tell this person you finna go get a job. They'll go behind your back and make sure you don't get it. I seen many people abuse their organization's title. You know, when you got an organization, you know people. Everybody listening to you. Everybody, you know, amazing. But yeah, sin. You sit there and you do stuff like this to somebody. I went a whole 8 to 9 years with no clothes. That was amazing. I didn't even know it was that long until my sister came, and my sister was telling me she finna, the anniversary of her husband is coming up. I started going through this after I visited him a year after, and she said it's finna be 9 years. I've been stuck in this situation without nothing for 8 years. And one of the first things that happened to me, not that but that happened to me, is my phone got canceled. I'm only doing this for y'all through the internet. When you done cut off everything around a person that's got anything to do with contacting the person, how do they supposed to get a job? Y'all tell on y'allself moving like this. Somebody give somebody some money, you buy food every day. You buy food nobody want to eat every day. Spend almost $100 on food every day. You got money to waste. Who money are you wasting? What did y'all do? You did birth certificate swap. You switched ages up. You did the most. Just set the whole family going backwards. You absolutely did the most. You did the most. Hurt this whole neighborhood, hurt the whole town. The energy, that is. When you shifted the energy and people agreed to the energy, when you agree to such energy, then immediately the spiritual realm gonna adjust the energy. Say they don't like the good energy. They don't care for the good energy. They all want to be contaminated. They all want to be hurt. They all want to be dismantled. They all want to beg. They all want to suffer. Because they gave the energy that I put down there to help them elevate. They gave the energy to a person that was going to ensure that they don't elevate. So now we see the energy for what it is. I can feel my girlfriend coming up. Barely. What you done, honey? Oh, you probably ain't done nothing. You probably some test again, huh? But I can feel the energy. And it's amazing. Sure, let's go to something else. Let's say I'm trying to quit smoking. And I just ask my neighbors. This time, I ain't gonna say this what's going on, but in the past it did. Now I just pay for cigarettes, so they typically give it to me. But in the past, if they knew you was healing from something like that, they'll always say they ain't got no cigarette. So they'll make you go buy a pack of cigarette. See, they need you to die. They need you to bend. And they need you to descend. If you don't die, they at least need you to descend. How about you just hold on to the sin that you've been trying to project on everybody else? How about you finally come out of the dark with all that darkness that you've been doing? How about you finally own up to something? Because God see what you're doing. That's how I know what you're doing. That's why I can tell what you're doing. It's a lot of other things that you're doing. I know somebody who act like they don't do this, that, and this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that, and walk right into a barn and help them supply themselves with drugs and help the prostitutes that work for them. But you would never expect this person to be such a person. To everybody else, this is a God-fearing person, probably even own his own church. You see what we have to deal with, the hypocrisy? You will be accounted for this. Because that's why God telling me it's a conduit. Why would the universe, why would the spiritual realm care about such things? Why would they talk about such things? Why would they talk about the community gang stalking? Why would they talk about the barns and the farm? Why would they talk about the names of these people? Why would they talk about what these people at, what they doing with the energy that they stole? Because it's been accounted for. You're gonna pay here or the afterlife, if not both. You sit here and sabotage somebody's life. And let me show you how I get out of this. When they get on my nerves too much with these little jokes and gang, I snap. But I don't snap no more, because they need me to snap. It took me a minute to learn that too. They need you to snap. I just look over them now. Ooh, I go so hard on, they start shaking. And here come the money flow again. It's sad that you'll sacrifice somebody that always been good to you, and you'll give to those who never been good to you, and then you got the audacity to treat the one that always been good to you worse than you've been treating that person, because you're not helping them though they've been good to you. So much evil. Amazing. So the energy is starting to shift. Everybody's starting to treat each other like this. You know, one thing I love about my lecture, nobody can say they lies. Nobody can say that, because it ain't nothing to lie about. This is programming. This is what the inside of gang stalking look like. This is what the inside of doppelgangers look like. This is what the inside of these kind of experiments that's in these boxes and bottles look like. They supposed to be tough. Don't get me wrong, but not like this. They are not supposed to be sabotaged to suffer. A century struggle? Okay. But a century suffer? No way. No way. No way. Absolutely not. Because I was just sitting here thinking about it. I was going to address some of it yesterday, but I got a message from somebody, which I'm glad I got a message about, because I was just thinking about that. And that person said, whatever you do, don't snap. Whatever you do, don't snap. He was talking about something about you gonna meet a register, a clerk. I heard the same thing in the Astro, but it wasn't like that. It's something more deeper, I think, than an actual, what I heard, than an actual clerk at a register. It's something way more deeper. But in the physical, it could be that. But in the spiritual, it could be something different. When you got stuff like this that's going so awfully wrong, then you can almost guess that it's some underhanded stuff going on in the spiritual with some of the energy. Somewhere there's an imposter. You can almost guess it now, because you can't trick the spiritual. Somebody got to pass you. Somebody got to let you slide. Somebody have to elevate you when they know that you don't supposed to be elevating. That's when I started realizing the convergence spells and the emergence spell, because I seen people my whole life that was awful, absolutely awful, get treated like Jesus Christ. I seen people my whole life that was absolutely awful, God-forsaken awful, get treated like Jesus Christ. And I seen people that actually had the light of Jesus Christ get treated like Satan for years. For years. And I was so thankful when I heard guys say there's an ancient spell that been going on, and I'm finna alleviate it, get rid of it. That made me feel good, because if it is an ancient spell that been going on, you know what you could do with a spell like this? It make that root chakra tension magic look like child play. You can just swap out people You mean to tell me you can make it where the heavens are blessed the wicked? The heavens will give blissfulness to the sinner for years? My God. All the people who died, all the people who suffered, all the people, like I said, the ones that they saying that stuck, surely I tell you the truth, those are the good people. Oh, they stuck, they sold. Okay, Tip Tap. They sold for good looks and knowledge. Last time I checked, when you sell your soul, you get paid, baby. Especially for good looks and knowledge. So, I know you probably wouldn't talk about me, but I'm finna keep on going off on this right here. Surely, I tell you the truth. The reason why I say I know you probably wasn't talking about me, because the doppelganger probably somehow projected that. Somehow something got swapped up right there. Because I always been like this. You can go ask anybody. But I'm not finna explain myself. And I ain't finna keep talking about it. Just know that God is here and God is observing this. I know everybody like, well, why these people ain't changing? They ain't meant to change. These people are not who you think they are. In the spiritual, these is totally different. These people in the physical, you think they just some rooty poop people, just think they ain't anybody. No, in the spiritual, these people are very high-ranking people, and they've been abusing their gift. Let me tell you something that I learned in the spiritual. I learned in the spiritual that when you go through troublesome times like slavery, the real depths and the most horrible parts of slavery, some people are actually started, after a while of this type of slavery, some people are born with a type of gene so they can conquer, and it can kind of dismantle that type of slavery that we was going through back then. Well, that gene still exists today, and that gene is what's abusing its position. That gene is what's taking advantage in the wrong way of its position. That's really what we're dealing with. Somewhat. And that's what's getting alleviated. Like I said, I just think about all the people who actually suffered greatly. I mean, my God. I'm going through it and I'm actually embracing it now. I used to walk around, I thought this was life, like I said, until I reached out to some spiritualists and found out this is an experiment. I said, my God, this is pure evil. This been going on my whole life, thank God. Because if I knew what I know today, back then, I'd have been in prison or dead. Off top. Because ain't no way can't nobody live their whole life like that. Cinderella story. Definitely the Cinderella story. When you go to the Cinderella story, you watch the movie, The Cinderella Story, the girl that they treated bad pretty much had to look over these people, ignore them. You couldn't say nothing to these people. All the community loved these people. These people had money, they were just spending money. Just kept throwing this girl in the trash can, sacrificing this girl, just trashing this girl. Just kept on. Definitely the Cinderella story. This the male version though. I just sat here and I've been looking at it, man. And I'm like, man, this is amazing. But they want you to snap. Don't snap. Embrace it. I done got to the point now I know God dealing with it. Like I said, I bumped my toe and I can see the sun dim when I bump my toe. As if the sun turn around and look at me and say, "You all right, son?" I can get around people and leave people and the energy will stop. Like this wind right here. See, I look at that like energy. And the energy will just stop. Pause for a minute. And let's say I'm walking away from these people. And as I walk away from these people start whispering about me. All this wind will stop. All of it will stop. And I kept asking God, what is that? What do this mean? The energy is listening to these people. Observing these people. So I'm like, well, how do this help me? How does this help me if the energy is observing the people like this? If I walk away from these people, how is this helping me? It's helping you. It helps you by you standing up in your power, and the energy gonna take care of those people for you. That's how God take care of the people for you. When I realized that God had, I'm telling y'all, one time I bumped my toe. And the sun, it was beautiful outside. The sun was shining. It was not the sun in and out. The sun was just shining. I bumped my toe in the house and the sun, and it went dim. It's almost like the sun turned around and looked at me and said, "Son, are you all right? Are you okay?" Because me and God laughed about it. So I came outside. I said, I know y'all like, oh, well, you might be in your head about this. I would say that, but at that moment, I noticed it. Before that, I came outside and I realized when I come into this shade, see how the wind stopped? Somebody talking now. Somebody talking about me right now. See how the wind stopped? Somebody talking about me right now. So when I come into this shade, watch the sun come out. When I come out to the sun, the sun come out. And I was like, well, let me do this 3 times. Because maybe I'm tripping. Not now, this is what happened in the past. So I turn around and I do it again. I go back. Now I know you see the shade and you see the sunlight right now. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the sun will blast. So I go through this shade again and I watched it do it again. And I did it 3 times. The sun went down. I said, my God. So right there, I started noticing energy. Continue, wind. Right there, I started noticing energy. And I said to myself, if God got it, I ain't got to worry about it. When I had that near-death experience and God sent me with them 2 guardian angels, which I like to call Ra and Anubis, things been totally different. It don't get no better than this. It don't get no better than this. It ain't nothing that the world got to offer me that I would trade this for. It don't get no better than this. So how can you utilize this? How can something like this help you? By standing up in your power? Because God see everything. God notice everything. And God wants you to notice that God notice everything. God wants you to have faith and give it over to God. God wants you to have faith and relinquish it to God. God wants you to have faith and let God heal the moment. See, the thing is, something like this, stuff like this been going on for so long, probably generations. And they know it works. I know it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Not this time. Not this time. I remember people dying in these situations. And I remember people having conversation when I was young on how these people were starting to croak. The people who killed these people would tell stories about the symptoms that these people would have, like gagging or throwing up or, just stuff like that. And they be like, these people, This is how you know death is close to him. Not this time. Not this time. What people need to do in this situation, a lot of these people that birth this kind of stuff right here, they are in their golden days. And my advice to you is to for real, get yourself right with God. Quit lying to yourself and think you can lie to God. Because if you can lie to God, God wouldn't have told me what you've been doing. Like I said earlier, a family member, when I got money, all of a sudden they broke. I'm buying stuff for the house. It ain't my house. I ain't got to buy nothing for it. It's not my house that need work. I don't have to buy nothing for it. So I'm taking the time out of my own and my money and buying something for the house because I know the house need it. But why would God tell me that? God ain't telling me to notice I need to buy something for the house. God is telling me to notice when I got money, everybody stopped moving until I'm broke and got no money. Even though they spending my money when they do got money. That's what God told me. So what is God trying to tell me? God is trying to tell me I notice and I see everything and I need you to let it go and let me have it. That's what God trying to tell me. So how do you do this? You got to walk into your power. How do you walk into your power? You got to stop sinning altogether. If you want to tap into yourself and you want to wake yourself up and you want to really move a mountain out your way, you got to tap into your higher self. They can't beat your higher self. They can beat your lower self, but they can't beat your higher self. God needs you to step into your higher self. You got to stop sinning. You got to heal. You got to heal your shadows. You got to heal your inner child. And you got to be sincere about it. Then you got to have patience like a shepherd. And then you got to sit there and observe. They used to kill observers, but we all are observers. You have to tap into your higher self to be an observer. You can't be an observer with a clouded mind. You can't lie to yourself. You can't lie to yourself. And it's going to take a long time. And you're going to break. You're going to feel like you want to break. You're going to feel broken in a million pieces. And that's good. Because now you got something to do. You can put them pieces back together. I heard community say, well, we got to do this to survive. You have to do this to survive because you warped the energy into the point where this is what you have to do to survive. You wouldn't have to do nothing like this to survive if you wouldn't never started it. So if you want to survive a better way, if you want to live in a better way, you're going to have to stop this right here that you started, that you felt like you had to do to survive. Because you shouldn't have never started it. That's the way that worked. See, that's what happened. You got rid of the heavenly saving. You got rid of God saving you, and you let the devil save you. And see, when it comes down to letting the devil save you, you got to always pay the devil to save you. All you got to do is heal and heal with God for God to save you. All you got to do is be real with yourself and be real with God for God to save you. But when you working for the devil, you got to do evil in order for the devil to save you. So how do you do this when all odds are against you? That's your one moment in time and your chance in your life, and that's life telling you to stand in your power. Stand in your power. And don't fold under pressure. Don't be like no beach chair. Stand in your power and let it go. And you might have to be there for a long time. You're going to get in your feelings a lot of times. You're going to lash out many times. You're going to have outbursts a lot. But one day, going to come a time where you're not having outbursts no more. And it's gonna go from having few to none. The same thing lashing out. The same thing with arguments. The same thing with fights. You gotta give yourself time to heal. Peace and love out there.